Docking request accepted.
Good morning, New Eden. Today is November 10th, 2024, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and my co-host here today is Nightflyer. How's it going, man?
Doing good. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the show.
So yeah, things are going really well in Gallente space. We've lost some ground since we had it almost 50-50. 40, it was like, what, 44, 45 or something like that for a little bit?
Yeah, there was some flipping back and forth because of the insurgency up in Villarreal, or Renaril, same thing.
Yeah.
So it kept kind of flopping back and forth. So we took that, but we've given up some of the little outskirt systems, Anathanol and Anato, things like that. That kind of they constantly flop back and forth. So yeah, but we've I think up north they've kind of pulled back a little bit. And then Devon, of course, is a thing. So
I noticed that Pinacasto is now under their control.
Yeah, we were up there on a battlefield earlier in the week and just trying to hold it off. We held it off for like a day. It's kind of the same thing up in where we got up there, Aranaco. We've kind of battled back a bit, so we might be able to take that back again soon.
Yeah, so let's take a look here. So we are at 15% contested, so just recently flipped, but we did have the north and south connected for the first time in a long time. And we have pushed them out completely from Nanamelia. They can no longer dock in Nanamelia, which is a center hub station for being able to assault the north and south. If you can hold that, then you can really hold a good, solid force that can kind of attack both of these conduits from Nanamelia. Nanamelia has always been known as like a really strong place. Especially when it really easily tied into and connected to, because it used to be from Akadagi, it used to go into High-Sec. And there's a few systems that were in this area that got taken away during the Triglavian event. But yeah, so we're doing really well on the front that we have right now. The Frog Pond up north here is just really kicking ass, and then we've got, the General Gal Militia down here in Hadeles. We've been holding the line, pushing Onasikin, fighting in Devon. Fleet is now back under assault, so we've really got to start pushing and protecting this. So, I mean, one of the big things is for the Federation Frontline, we're going to be making our objective this Onasikin, Aboon, Devon, Fleet, Nissawa area, where we're going to, need to try and push and try and do as much plexing, try and hold those lines as best as possible. But overall, the fighting has been pretty solid as of late. There's definitely lots of fleets going around and doing stuff. Frog Pond is always, pinging out there for things to do. There's, battlefields to be fought over, and we've been having, quite a bit of fun as of late.
Yeah, there's going to be, and I think, like, Devon, which has always been a hot spot, I think between that, Panacasto, and Oyx, those three I think are going to be highly contested, and that'll probably be the big front flip-flopping back and forth for the next couple of months or coming into the new year.
Hey Corvus, how's it going?
What I see happening. But yeah, a lot of these other systems, like Richard and stuff like that, I think they'll continue to kind of flip flop back and forth. But those three, um, Devon, Pentacast, and Oigs, I think will be kind of where the big hot spots are, the turning points come from.
Absolutely, for sure. It is nice though to know where the hot spots are in faction warfare these days with this beautiful map that they've provided us. This, the frontline system idea I really like because it really, highlights exactly where you should, so it literally highlights where you need to go.
It literally highlights it. So.
Do you think Ribbit will lose Nen? I don't know. They're definitely been able to create a barrier around Nen that really helps with keeping it, just due to the amount of advantage that you get for having systems that are bordering your thing. So I would I would like to see what happens when Nen comes under assault. Now, can they keep it to the point where nobody can dock in it? That's a big question. I don't think that that's going to be necessarily possible. I think that Nen will become a frontline eventually. Like, there's just no way to stop Nen from being a frontline at some point or another, because unless they're able to really hold the north, like the pocket right above Nenemelia, they have to keep that as that barrier system in there, and that is like, so if you got to keep Akadagi always, and if you can't keep Akadagi, then you're done. It's gonna be a frontline system. And this is where Avonin, Pavanaka, these are systems that are traditionally not easy for us to hold. So they're going to be able to push back fairly easy. That's starting to extend the line a little bit, but I think that can they hold on to Nen and keep it a Gallente system? Very possible if they pile in and they continue to push the amount of fleets that they've been pushing in that area, and it also depends on what kind of happens with the insurgency or whatever, the pirate stuff. So that's happening over in Kadama right now. So that is going to hinder our war efforts in the north, in the south, as we try and head north. And so that'll probably mess with Onasika, Naboo, and Fliet, Devon. It's probably all going to become, and Hadiles, as well as like Tama, Suturento, all these systems are going to come under threat. I think Nerve is fine though, right? Because Nervakaikin is 0.8, so it can't be corrupted.
I think the problem that we're going to have, we talked about this before, is the logistics. The farther we push up north, the more fronts we're creating for ourselves, and that starts to become a problem as far as how many troops we have, how many people we can get online on a regular basis, and how much of a force we can put on the field.
Right, Nissa was
the north
no longer
we push, the harder it's going to be. So
yeah, Nissa was no longer the trade hub that it used to be. Nor is Tama really a trade hub, or even if we did have it accessible to us, it's not really that great of a place to stage out of.
Snuff taking all the stations out of there didn't benefit that system at all from an economic standpoint.
And Nissa was
just like now it's pretty much worthless. It used to be kind of a hot spot to go to for fights, for trade, and now it's like, I don't know. I think I still have a ship there too. I think I still have a Thrasher sitting in a hangar someplace up there. So
So Corvus says they had to ping to form Demios and Logi to fight me +1 battleship this morning during stream. Oh damn, for some reason. Well, they're just trying to be bullied as much as they can to control that area, of course. They don't want to play fair, I'm sure. They were looking for that. I'm sure they weren't calling that a fair fight. But it's nice to not have to deal with Gur like we have for literally the last 5 months. Yeah, so that's something that's really interesting, is that as it becomes more of a 50-50 war zone, it becomes much more likely that Gurmil will start interfering in our operations. Now that they also have moved it to the front lines is where these operations happen, these insurgencies happen, that's going to affect, that's going to have a much larger effect on the war, actually, than always hitting the Keldari in the backline systems, which is basically what was happening for a long time. So I think that the system that we gotta see how this plays out a little bit more, but I have to say that this is actually a fairly healthy war zone, I feel like, at this point. There's, I feel like the Keldari have lost a lot of their farmers. I feel like Gurmil are like the dominant force, actually, wherever they go, but just in the farming sense. And so they're able to accomplish their objectives. So they interfere with some of the war zone. And Gallente, although I think we've taken some major hits recently by losing like Sedition and losing a lot of push and desire, it feels like, from like General Gallente. Let's see, the CCP pinwheel, where every system choice is EHA. Do you guys have many mission runners? No, we don't have really anybody doing missions. No, missions are the worst. They were the worst. They're always the worst. Fuck missions, and I'm glad they're basically
the risk.
dead.
Yeah, the risk reward's not there, and then you're gonna take standings hits. So there really is no reason to do it.
Much better to go flexing.
Yeah, I thought we originally talked about this when they came out. I think we even had a talk with Aurora at the time. Was that these missions would have an impact of some kind on the front lines and everything, and I don't think that ever really got developed or got pushed through, because nobody does them. So I guess even if people were regularly doing them, would we see any kind of impact? I thought that was kind of the thing, like, you would have more of these supply depots and that kind of stuff pop up, the more missions and stuff that you would run, and that would allow you to have a better advantage in the systems. I thought that sounded like a neat concept, but again, I don't think it ever.
No, yeah, nothing ever came with that, for sure.
So,
and that's okay, because I don't think the missions in the war zone were. They need to be fully reworked. I don't think there's a little fix to them other than just making them useless.
Yeah, no, that was a huge talk. One of the CCP, I can't remember who it was. Was it Kestrel, maybe? Who was talking about what it's going to take to revamp missions in general, to redo those, dungeons, in quotes, of to rework that as a much larger project than what they've got manpower to do. So I don't recall if they said there was anything on the timeline, if anything on that, but I know it was talk among some of the new CCP elects, the CSM elects, as being something that kind of needed to be done, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the patch that's kind of coming up that we're also going to kind of talk about doesn't seem like it's going to greatly affect the Warzone in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't look like there's any real updates for faction warfare, but there is a bunch of balance changes that are
those
going
will
to
have
affect.
Yeah, those will have an impact.
And so that's something that we definitely want to get to and talk about, because that's going to have a really big effect on the ships that we're going to be flying. And yep, the ENI is getting nerfed pretty hard.
Yeah,
and
very
so
sad.
a second round of nerfs to the ENI, and that's
Yeah, I mean,
the
first nerf we weren't happy with, but it makes
hurting the rail ENI. The blaster ENI doesn't really care about the nerf that's happening here, so I'm not too concerned. The last nerf on damage was like a huge nerf to the blaster ENI. And now this is and it was a big nerf to the rail ENI. Not as damaging, it felt like, because it was just remove mass plate
necessarily
bonus.
Yeah, that was necessarily that first nerf where they cut back on the damage. Wasn't happy about it, but it was overpowered compared to the other ships in its class. I thought it was well balanced now. It's still obviously kind of the meta for a lot of what we do, but I thought that was a good thing.
The one thing is if you want to continue to bash on and smash down the ENI, then we gotta bash on and smash down the Phoenix Navy issue. And
how about
and then we need to fix the store and a bunch of other stuff.
Well, we talked about it a lot.
I get it. It's affecting other areas as well.
We know
this is not
CCP
a faction
hates
warfare LP store.
Gallente, so.
So
CCP hates Gallente, so they're gonna keep nerfing our stuff. But no, they'll give the Ramadan web bonuses or something stupid. So web
store issues and ship balance are different things. Yes, absolutely they are.
Yeah, that store's a thing. I don't know. But we'll get into some of the ship balancing stuff there, and some of them I think need to be done.
There is a bunch that do fly with Galmill, but that's actually with Sedition, and so that's not Galmill anymore. So, and that's definitely, from my understanding, like all of the devs were in Sedition and still are, and that they're not. I don't know of any devs that actually fly with Gallente, besides the ones that fly with Young Puke. So maybe I'm wrong, but I've never. All the ones that I've talked to when I went to FanFest, every one of them that were involved in faction warfare were in Sedition.
So it's a thing, right?
No, Sedition is not in faction warfare.
Now, what are those guys up to? What are they still doing? Because they're still listed.
They're low sec, they're pushing the agenda of low sec, and yeah, he has experience with faction warfare for being part of faction warfare, but they're not part of Gallente anymore.
No, but their line
fighting
still shows
cartels,
up on the Z kill under. So, yeah, top alliances. They're still listed there. Oh, wait, what am I looking at? Because the initiative is still on here too. I don't know. Oh, what's Z kill? No, computers are hard. So other things going on in the Warzone. We have mustered up some pretty good stuff for the battlefields, especially anything offensive. We've been, I think, putting together a good force for. And there's not currently anything out right now, so I don't know where the next one's gonna pop.
Yeah, well, we just got the one completed in Nissawa. That was an easy completion for the Gallente. We had no contested reaction from the Caldaria at all, but once again, it's an extremely low contested system at this point, so it's hard to feel really good about winning like 20,000 LP per person for hours of work.
Well, I know my playtime has been kind of sporadic. I think last week when I was working nonstop, I actually had a lot more kills than I have this week, and I've been mostly off. So I think that's, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe when I'm off, I'm concentrating on all my other hobbies and yard work and that kind of stuff that's going on. But even though logging on last night, there wasn't a whole lot of activity going on in the Discords.
Yeah, the Gallente Discord has been really quiet lately, but Frog Discord UK time zone has been super strong. It's been interesting because a lot of people now say that the Gallente, are too strong during the UK time zone, and our US time zone sucks. And that's complete opposite of what it's traditional for the Gallente. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Maybe that'll kind of help things out a little bit. Might get used to getting into that time zone.
Sounds like Corvus had a really good fight with Ribbit in the BF recently, where they had DNIs versus Prof Navies, and then there was sounds like a few Megas brought in, and then some Ravens. And
Yeah, I've actually been doing some industry and building some of the Megathron Navy issues. It's not it's one of the ships I really like, but it's not really good in its class. There's better ships in that class that you could go with.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think you're almost better off saving the money and resources and just building a regular Megathron compared to the investment of the Navy issue. But
yeah, well, I'm waiting to see how much prices come down with the changes that are going to be happening, and how things are kind of going to be shaping up in the future, where hopefully battleship prices come down. That's one of the big things that we're looking for is, can we get battleships to be a reasonable price, and then we can start flinging them at each other,
Yeah, the economic report, and again, I'm not an economist, and I only catch bits and pieces of Oz stream because he streams at weird times for me. But looking through it, you can see that the overall ship prices are down. They're down like 5% or something, so...
Yeah, no, that's...
I'm hoping it kind of trickles down a little bit more.
Oh, and yeah, there's so much, the no plate bonuses, no shield bonuses, all that stuff. We're going to get to that stuff here pretty soon. Really quick, before we jump over to patch notes and stuff, let's just take a look at the Killboard here for the Gallente. One second here. All right. So this and
yeah, I know this isn't very exciting to watch, everybody, but if I try to pull stuff up on my screen, my computer lags, which makes this stream even worse. So Frozen's got to do double duty for us, so I appreciate that.
No problem.
I need a better rig. I was talking to my kid about that.
We're kind of improving this, where I've got to move it into the right spot right now. Okay, so we've got that moved around, and let's go into the Gallente Federation here. Just kind of take a look at a couple of the stats here that they have.
sure we're on the same screen.
So we've got 555 characters if you combined our kills and losses. If you look at people who are just getting kills, there's 348 characters in Galmo right now. So if we take a look at the Keldari, let's take a look here. So Keldari, if you combined people who have lost and got on kills with Z-Kill, they have about 1,180 characters that are involved in the war, and about 744 of them are getting on kill mails. So that is pretty substantial. So the amount of people who get on kill mails is 348 for the Gallente. Keldari, 744 that are positive on kill mails. So we're still fighting not quite, or actually just more than twice as many characters that get on kill mails. That are now, not all of these that get on kill mails are going, because a lot of these can be part of the Keldari and then get on kill mails and do a bunch of stuff out in 0.0 and aren't really directly affecting the war zone. As you can see, the war zone is about 50-50 right now. So obviously, just because they have 744 characters that get on kill mails doesn't break it down completely. So some of the stuff that, you can kind of take a look at here is, where are they getting their kills? Zarzak, that's not, that's not going to be dealing with our war zone. That's the other war zone, right? Avoinen, okay, so Udamia, so that's high sec ganking. This is low sec. That's in the war zone, but not, as important. And so, like, if you're looking at some of the kills here, it's interesting to see that now Vivalier at 188, Devon at 183, Pinacasto, but there is, so we definitely know there's a strong, I think, 0.0 influence that's happening in the Keldari still.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Apparently, Corvus is saying that the UCSC brought a ton of burst jammers and got on a lot of kills. It sounds like there was some kind of big brawl that happened yesterday at Zarzak. So that's kind of probably churning the stats a little bit odd for why Zarzak is at that 700. Like, that's kind of, so this is probably way out of norm.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, they had just as Eve news, so there was a fundraiser in Zarzak where they did a tornado battle to raise funds for the hurricane relief here in Milton, Hurricane Milton, that kind of devastated some of the lower states here in the U.S. So I'm trying to I can't I have to pull up the notes. But yeah, shout out to the guys who put that together.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the Gallente participated, or if they did, not in as smart of a way with the burst jammers. That's always a great way to get out a bunch of kills. But you can see that Avoinen is a pretty solid system that is under, being fought over by the Gallente and Keldari at this time. Vivalier, Pinacasto, there is a little bit of Zarzak. We got on 151, but not quite the 700. That's a beautiful move right there.
Yeah, Tiltify put together that fundraiser, so thanks a lot. Also, another shout out for Sasquatch, another streamer, friend of the show, who raised $11,000 for the Extra Life charity for the Stollenary Children's Hospital Foundation.
So Spectre Fleet
streamers, streamers doing well. Appreciate those guys putting that effort in, making us all look good.
Absolutely. But yeah, so Warzone is, very still heated. There's lots of fights to be had, lots of places that are hot zones, lots of single PvP to be had as well. So definitely go check out the front lines, see what's going on, have fun out in the Warzone. And let's kind of take a look then at the, do we want to look at the generalization first? Let's look at the Revenant is coming November 12th. So this is 2 days away. We've got Tuesday is when this is coming out. Let's see here. I'm going to play the video here.
Sure.
Victory comes at a cost. A momentary pause while all regroup. But now, I have the lock. Bring me the key. And united, we will strike at the heart of darkness.
So the big thing that's kind of coming out of this expansion, I think, is really, these new ships, right? That are coming out for the Deathless. That there's finally a Kaldari Mimitar faction in the game, and their ships are crazy OP, right? It's like kind of the whole theme that I'm kind of getting here.
Yeah. Well, they have the
Fred is coming, and they brought dragoons.
the pirates den, so it's going to be the ships and the pirates den, but they kind of go hand in hand because you have to, I think, put some of the pirates dens up to get the resources you need to go to Zarzak to get these ships. I think it's all kind of
so it's an interesting thing that it's going to be basically the what's his name? The Deathless. The Deathless is going to be working with 0.0 pilots. So there's still the emanation lock that's going on, but you can still get in and get out through the gate that you came in. So there is going to be a lot of traffic to Zarzak now, but not being able to use it as a giant highway, right? Unless you're part of the Deathless. So I think that's actually kind of cool. There's going to be a bunch of, movements and trying to get stuff to the Deathless that, is generated out in 0.0. I would like for this would be something that I would find interesting if we could have it in low sec as well. I thought that, it would be kind of cool if low sec got some of these interactions. I think would be kind of cool, but Corvus asks if he can be cynical for a moment. Yeah, I'm always, I'm too bright about this game. Multiple of the people that I try to interact with, I try and bring them up, but I also need to understand that there is darkness in this game. So point out what you think darkens this moment that is coming here in the next 2 days. While you're writing that up, though, let's take a look here.
So we want to talk about the dens first, or we're going to talk about the ships first?
Let's just take a look at. We'll just go down and look at what the Revenant is coming into November 12th here. Okay. So, powerful new Deathless ships are one of the things that they kind of talk about here in the beginning, and they don't go into much detail here. So, I think we'll use the patch notes to go into more detail. But basically, the overall
they do a little bit later on.
Yeah,
so.
It's basically sustained damage over time using breach pods. And these breach pods, hit you, it stays on you for like 75 seconds, and it does damage over time.
And that damage, it doesn't matter resistances or sig radius or anything. Like, it's going to do the sustained damage until you dock the ship or leave system.
Yeah,
if
just
you're
the
in
size
warp,
of your ship matter, or the amount of hit points that you have matters. So if you have like an insane amount of hit points, it can do like 1,000 DPS a second, or something like that. But if you have like a little amount of hit points, it's only going to do 0.75% or something like that of your hit points per second. So you basically end up losing about like 60% of your.
and that's
Through an entire hit from this thing, you lose 60% of your hit points, which is kind of crazy.
so. Talking with Swift at in Vegas, kind of hit it to the point where this, will do this nice sustained damage over time, but it's never really going to be the kill shot. Even though you're in warp, you're still going to get the sustained damage. Like, you don't stop taking damage even when you're in that 3 to 5 second warp. But I don't think it can actually blow you up since it works on a percentage, because it'll always
Not
leave you
by
like
itself,
50%.
it can't blow you up, but just a little bit of added extra from some, like 40% of the damage coming from somewhere else, then yeah, you're gonna get blown up basically.
Yeah, but it's all, like I said, based on percentages. So if you're at a Titan, it can do up to 800 points. So that's if the median, if you're getting hit with the medium Preacher Pod. But if it's the small one, I think they max out 160 DPS a second.
Yeah,
So
we'll go
that's
into
the
the stats when we go over to the relevant pack, the Revenant expansion notes here. But just looking at this, the general of it is that these are Mimitar, Kaldari hybrid, brawler vessels. They have, like webbing, stasis web of fire, negation bonuses. So it's like web of fires work a little less. Not like it's not like they're completely like useless on them. They're just a little bit less. Corvus does say here that it seems that this is a half-assed effort to make Zarzak finally relevant. None of the pirate FW guys live there because they can literally dock everywhere, so they have to get null interested by essentially making access to Zar a requirement to get the new shiny ships. I mean, yeah, that's sounds about right.
There's some validity there. That.
So then there's these from workforce to wealth. So basically, you put up these mercenary dens, and it's gonna go on terrestrial, planets or whatever. These are going temperate planets are going to be basically harvesting. Well, there's like corruption level basically in the mercenary den, and as the corruption level goes up, it starts stealing workforce, which is kind of crazy, but like that just sounds really bad. Sounds like a Blood Raider kind of thing, like I think they need to make a Blood Raider mercenary den where it's like the corruption doesn't just take the workforce, it specifically says that it's sacrificing the workforce. But these are kind of interesting. It's a new structure. You put it down, it basically generates, you can, instead of using workforce to be distributed and used for SOB, you can use this to straight up make new items that are going to be used for the Deathless ships that you have to bring to Zarzak for this. So, also it's going to generate a new, like, medium-sized, small gang site, I think, for cruisers.
Yeah,
is
they're saying a cruiser-sized site. I don't know if that means a T3 cruiser or if it's just cruisers in general, but yeah. And then by completing those sites, those PvE sites, will have an effect on the what do they call that? Either the anarchy or the development of the system.
Right, yeah, and as you develop the system, then when you finish development, then you spawn one of these new sites, basically. Yeah,
and that will determine, like, I guess the higher the level, the more you're actually going to be able to siphon off. So if you are, building out these PvE things and you go and take care of that, then the level goes up and you can do more.
And no, this is not going to replace Skyhook raiding. this is definitely has nothing to do with skyhook rating at all. You place these structures and they can be reinforced, and then you can blow them up, and you have a 50% chance of the items dropping that you're trying to harvest to get the Zarzak. So these are another structure timer. Need to use reps in order to hold it down. So definitely not replacing skyhook rating in any way, shape, or form. But yeah. So yeah, we'll dig into that more with once again with the patch notes themselves. But there's going to be achieve more enhancements, through the corp projects. This is kind of cool. I like the corp projects. It is very helpful to a small group that doesn't have an IT team for them to include these kind of projects, and we'll dive deeper into them as well. Then they're going to be making, these are some of the things I'm really interested to see exactly how these go, where you can make tax-free skins that go directly to your corporation or to your alliance, and that use Evermarks instead of Plex and ISK in order to buy them. This sounds like a really great way of doing two things. One, possibly getting a bunch of skins out and making it so that people use this a lot, and people are going to use this with corp skins, and it'll create like this uniform for people inside of corporations and stuff like that. I find that to be kind of interesting. I like that. But this might also crash the market for it to a certain degree. Stream skins. Are they getting out stream skins? I don't know. I didn't know that that was part of the... I know that one of the things that they're going to be doing is double patterns now on these. But I'm wondering, though, if this will make it so that if I can use Evermarks in order to do branded, things, then why would I ever use the Plex system for it? Now that's going to be at like a higher level for sure, for being able to access this and have it, but you're just going to get free skins from your corp that you're going to want to, that are cool, hopefully, that you're going to want to use, right? So we'll see if it messes with the market at all on that. But I've bought one skin so far off of the market and it was worth 700 million. It was for a Vexer Navy issue with the new skull for it, new skull pattern. But now that there's double patterns, I want to see what kind of cool double pattern skins you can make.
Yeah, I like that they're going to have a randomization button now too.
Yeah, you can make a skin targeted to a specific individual. The free skins are linked to those within the brand manager role. If you have the role removed, the license disappears. Yep.
Oh, that is interesting.
Partner with Paragon. So this is where they're going to be using Evermarks or whatever. And then Vanguard event updates. So from November 28th to December 9th, Vanguard descent planet side, impacting the ongoing war in New Eden on a grand scale. So this is a huge update to Vanguard. More details to be revealed soon. Interesting. Reap daily rewards. So it sounds like there's going to be some reward giveaways coming up here as Revenant is released as well, so you get daily rewards back for a short time. Not quite the way that the old ones were, but alright. So looking over at the expansion notes here, so the first thing that we'll look at is mercenary dens.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit already. The blueprints for the mercenary dens will be available in Zarzak. You're going to have, it's a skill you have to train up to anchor those. You get one per skill level, so Yes, you can have a total of 5. And then they're only accessible when you start harvesting. They're only accessible by the person that owns or put the den down. So that might be an issue. So if you're doing like a corp thing, you and I fly out, I plant the den, but then I can't get back to it. Um, yeah, you and my corp can't go over and go, oh, I'll go like harvest this. So that might be a thing.
Yeah, that I find this really interesting that it's not on a level of the corporation or alliance type kind of level of
like a
control.
It's
it's a very, very specific to a very specific person. You know, like this is you get to drop this many, and you have control over them, and you will get the benefit for doing this. It can be destroyed. They have a 24-hour reinforcement timer with a 6-hour jitter. While reinforced, the mercenary dens will continue to produce infomorphs, but they won't be able to be removed from the mercenary den until it leaves reinforced mode and has been raised above 50% shields. Note that the automatic regeneration shields over a long time if no one comes to finish it off. If the mercenary den is destroyed, it has a 50% chance to drop the encrypted infomorphs inside. And so these are called mercenary tactical operations. Mercenary dens there's a new event that you can, a new site that you'll get that's these mercenary tactical operations. Mercenary dens will occasionally give their owners the opportunity to run MTOs, which are similar to existing PvE content such as missions and escalations. They're aimed for, it's not group play, it's solo player in a cruiser. So this is another one of the things where like you're building this up and you want to like get this going, and it's really just going to be to one person that the rewards go to. This is once again not an alliance level activity in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird when it came out, because I thought you're talking about siphoning off of the skyhook, and so I thought it would be something like the pirates would do. Like if someone's got Sav out in Elsec, I'm gonna take my pirate group out there. We're gonna drop one of these things, and we're gonna start siphoning off from their skyhook, and from that we will get these, informational.
That is something that I find really interesting about this. I also kind of had the feeling that this was going to be like an offensive module, or like offensive structure that you could put down on something, and it would like affect it and be bad for to have these going. Yeah,
but from like reading through these notes, and again, this is coming out in like 2 days, so I thought we'd have a lot more information on this. But
it's definitely a good thing. You want to put these down. Like these
So if you have I'm gonna put it on my own
skyhook force to spare, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be, like, the one thing about this is that there's going to be a bunch of Diplo that's got to be tied into using this instead. So because it's not an offensive module, it's a enhancement, possible degradation in workforce that may be needed for. So this is something that needs to be managed by top-level management, but also needs to be doled out on responsibility is doled out on an individual basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be rough. Like I'm not looking forward to the logistics. Not necessarily logistics, but the project management that's going to need to be gone into this for large groups. And I'm kind of okay with that to a certain degree. If there is a certain level of like, if you make things extremely high level of bureaucracy, it becomes harder to manage that bureaucracy, and it's better to like tone down. But Eve has been well proven that it's just like no matter how much you increase the bureaucracy, they'll figure out how to deal with that, and they'll just use more of their 10,000 members to deal with that bureaucratic bullshit that needs to be there, or that you're trying to use to hurt them. So in the end, I don't understand why this isn't a corporation level thing.
Yeah, it seems a little weird, but
but yeah, it generates development over time. The higher development will cause the mercenary den to increase production yield of its infomorphs over time. And then once it gets full, I believe that's when the MOT appears. And then there's anarchy is generated over time and decreases when it's successfully completed an MOT or MTO. Higher anarchy will cause the skyhook it's placed on to siphon workforce production, preventing the workforce from being used by the sob owner. So one thing that's really interesting, I think, here is that it's not siphoning workforce at all unless anarchy is happening. So at the beginning of placing this, it's not taking any workforce you want one of these on every one of your planets, every one of your temperate planets, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. Again, won't have any real impact on the faction warfare systems or low sec. This is going to be another null sec issue 0.0.
Yeah.
And but we know that that's what they're trying to develop. They're trying to develop ways to solve. They're just redoing that structure out there. So, but you're gonna have to do these pirate dens if you want these new pirate ships.
Yeah. So these are the new pirate ships here. We've got the Thalos. It's got a 7.5% bonus to shield boost amount per level of Caldari, 5% bonus to ship stasis weapon-fire resistance per Mimitar destroyer level, so it'll get up to 25%. It has a roll bonus of 150% bonus to projectile turret damage and rocket damage. Can fit one of the small breacher pod launchers. Can fit a covert ops cloak, which is very interesting. So these are sneaky type kind of ships as well. Has 100% reduction to cloaking device CPU requirements. Cloak reactivation delay reduced to 15 seconds. Immunity to all cargo scanners. I'm wondering why it has the immunity to all cargo scanners. It's usually like a blockade runner ability.
It does seem weird, but yeah, I'm wondering I wonder where that thought came in from. But this is a close combat ship, and like I said, it's supposed to sneak up, and I think that's where this is going to do. Is it's going to get within that range, probably within 10k. It's going to have to get, I'm guessing, with the rockets, probably even closer than that.
It's got a solid drone bay for a destroyer too. 50 drone bay, 25 millimeter meter bandwidth, so that it can field 2 sets of light drones, which that's pretty impressive actually for a destroyer that has 6 highs, and that'll be dealing a really ridiculous amount of damage to one target over a long period of time. This is something that is going to make active tank way more important in a lot of situations actually. But it all kind of depends. I'm wondering what the price of these are going to be in the beginning. How much, are these new infomorphs going to be worth, quote unquote? And so because they won't bring too big of a change to the battlefield if they are super shiny, right? If you can't get a bunch of them out there and be able to mass produce these, then as soon as one shows up on the battlefield, you blow it up, or it's going to be used as sneaky operations, against a couple of people, but it's not going to affect anything on a bigger war zone, anything that has multiple people fighting with each other. But it would be interesting to see like 4 of these come in and just start, pelting random people throughout the fleet with this like massive amount of damage that if you don't have an active rep, you're gonna have like a huge amount of strain going on to the Logi. So it's got 6 highs, 6 mids, 2 lows, so shit for its lows. 2 launchers and 2 turrets. So it's split damage types, but it has a bonus to both of those. So you can either choose one or the other, and I don't know, I guess newts or something like that you could put in those extra high slots. But you're probably going to do turrets and launchers, and both of them are capless weapons, which is great. Both of them, with the rocket damage bonus, you're going to be wanting to be close range. We've got drones, like we said on that. So a pretty solid looking destroyer here. Looks like it's going to be a shield tank ship for the most part, 20, 40, 50, 0. So pretty standard. So looking at the battle cruiser that they're making here, though, is another boost, 7.5% bonus to shield booster amount per Caldari battle cruiser level, and the stasis web of fire resistance bonus again. 100% bonus to the medium projectile turret and heavy assault missile damage. They get a 50% bonus to command burst area of effect range, 25% bonus to the medium projectile turret optimal range and fall off and missile velocity. Can fit 1 medium breacher pod launcher, can fit a covert ops cloak. Reactivation time reduced by 15 seconds, 100% reduction to covert ops cloaking device or cloaking device with general CPU requirements. Immune, once again, to all of those cargo scanners, because this is what you're going to use to transport stuff, right?
Yeah, well, it's the first thing I think about too is, when, I'm in a battle and someone shoots me with a breacher pod, I'm like, yeah, I wonder what they have in their cargo. I better.
Tom, thank you so much for the subscription from Twitch, or from YouTube. Ooh.
Again, I can see that. I mean, it's going to be an interesting ship. I can see how, it could be effective.
Yeah,
but it's going to.
I really want to see the price tag on it. If this is a billion-isk battle cruiser, not going to be as impressed. No. If it's a 500 million-isk, might be a little bit more impressed. If it's a 250 million-isk, well, okay, interesting. This thing's going to get used.
Yeah, I don't.
If it's around the level of what, like a Brutix Navy issue is, which I highly doubt. This is probably going to be much more like an alligator or something like that, like battle cruiser that's pirate faction, of course, price, I would guess. But we'll see exactly, because the thing is, it's all about these pirate dens, right? So in the beginning, they're going to definitely be worth an insane amount, but if all of 0.0 is using these mercenary dens, and there's a massive gluttony of these morphs coming out of 0.0 and getting to Zarzak and 0.0 is building a gluttony of these ships, then it's possible that HiSec will have a glutton of these ships on the market, So getting hit by additional breacher pods doesn't hit you. The effect lasts between 50 and 75 seconds. I think
there's a reload time.
Is like
It is
want to say like 15 seconds, or rate of fire 24 seconds, but that can get reduced down to 12 seconds.
But yeah, ship can only be affected by one breacher pod at a time. So you can't stack. You can't have.
But you
all
can,
right, there's
but you
tight on
can add
field. Let's
another
launch
10
15
seconds or 12 seconds onto that thing, so you can hit them again with it, and it'll just make the effect last a little bit longer. But if you hit multiple people with it, then all of them have this, going on them, and then you can, if they're not getting actively tanked, or if they're not actively tanking or having Logi heal them, as Logi becomes, over exhausted, you can, basically hit up to like 7 targets, right? And have 7 targets that are all in this like bloody pain before you come back to that first target that you hit. And this would be interesting. It's a dot over time. We've never had dot over time, mechanics where this is really like, if you warp off, that doesn't matter. If they warp off, it doesn't matter. Like, and if they jump through a gate, it doesn't matter. But one of the things that does matter is docking, I believe. Gate transferring, was there a thing about possibly?
Yeah, I think you can gate transfer. If you leave the system, I think that negates it. Warp doesn't, tether does not. Yeah.
Now, tether would still heal you, I believe, as you're getting damage.
Still getting damage. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you'd still be in the effects.
But you still have to get tether. Also, you might have a combat timer, so you might not be able to get tether.
Yeah. What I haven't seen anywhere is these charges. Like, is there a mass to them? Are they like smart bombs or something? Like, I mean, are they? I wonder what size they are. How many can I fit in a hull? Is it like ammo, or is it?
Volume is 0.1 and 0.5.
Oh, so nothing. So yeah, you can.
This is basically
so
like.
I was wondering if they're going to be like
bombs.
100 meters square. So,
right.
All right, I can put like 2 in my cargo hold.
No, these are just going to be shot every second that you can possibly shoot them, as long as the ammo isn't too expensive in the end. So it looks like they do have fairly short range. So the small pod is only 6 kilometers. Maximum of 0.6% damage over 0.75 with max skills for HP damage per second. Maximum amount of damage that it can do per second, if it's whichever one is higher or better or worse, basically. So if the max that it can do is 200 damage per second, basically. That's the most amount, the likely that you probably don't have that much HP, so it's going to do 0.75% of your max HP. And this is your base HP, so if you have a big, giant, huge buffer tank, this will do way more damage to you than if you have a skinny active tank.
Yeah, it says like if you have an assault damage control on your ship, then you're gonna receive like full damage. So,
that's another thing.
I've been enjoying flying a lot of those ships lately. I've had a couple of what the hell are these things? Retributions. Duh, that's what it is.
Oh yeah,
so I've had a couple of retributions. I've been enjoying flying those lately. Because of that assault damage control, but if this gets hit with that, you're going to take that full damage in there. Same thing. It says Roricles with Panic are also going to apply.
I do find it really weird that the rate of fire for the medium breacher pod launcher is shorter than the small. So the small only shoots every 12 seconds, 24 or 12.
Yeah.
The medium shoots every 12 to 10 seconds, so it's faster, actually.
Yeah. It's faster and does more damage. It's got a little better range.
There's new skills for it. This is where it'll all increase its damage, and so this will take time and or free skill points and or injection in order to get these skills up in the beginning, of course. So premiums.
But it is like a launched missile. And so, therefore, it can be countered with smart bombs. So,
Yep.
So, because I was thinking, all right, well, you're going to shoot at a Titan, but most Titans are going to have a smart bomb on them, usually just for.
They still have to time it properly.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah, you're not going to be able to like react to it because, like I said, these are close ships. They're going to have to get within. Yeah, what do you say? 6K just to use it. That's with max skills. So 6 for the small, 12 with the medium. Those are maximum ranges. So yeah, this and again, that was what Swift was talking about in Vegas too. Was that this is a sneak up on you, get really close, and pop you, and then try to get off the field.
Right, because one of the things too is that in a solo match with this guy, it actually means that like in 60 seconds, it's probably really bad for you unless you have an active repper, because in a solo fight you're going to be able to like decloak, attack, hit them, and then start with that bomb, and then start hitting them with close range DPS, and like that should put you over the top fairly soon, especially if they're a big buffer tank, type kind of, I'll just survive these things with huge buffer tanks. No, active tank is going to be really big on countering against these guys. Active tank doesn't really affect active tank too badly. It's a little bit more strain on their active tank. The Titan pilot, once in range, will fire up the smart bomb. Yeah, exactly. No, normally the Titan will, they'll be fine. But you still got a little bit of skill that you need to be close behind that.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bunch of stuff going on with skin design. There's more blended modes, switch, reset pattern, reset all slots, randomization. That's kind of cool. I like that. But yeah, that's going to be cool. I think that's really needed for the Skinner, is to allow for 2 patterns. There's a bunch of new patterns that they're going. Over 40 new patterns have been added. These can be found through gameplay in various locations around New Eden. So a bunch of new patterns that are being added. Then there's a bunch of new stuff that you'll get patterns and nano coatings for personalized skins. Kronos says, get in the grappler range. It wants to give the Deathless ship a big, warm, melting hug. Yep. So, new skill, it looks like there's one to make it so that fees for selling skins on the Paragon Partnership Program. So, new corp improvements that they have for corp projects here, extending corp project parameters. There's, multi-value parameters that you can have. Mixed hierarchy parameters now. Just a lot of really interesting things. There's a deadline you can put on a core project now, and then you can also have a limit on the number of participants. So you can be like, oh well, we only allow you to do get 1 plex, counted towards you. I guess like project creators can now set the limits on contributors per contribution, preventing any single player from completing the majority of the project alone, allowing everyone a chance to contribute. So, we'll see how that goes. Ship info window is going to be greatly improved. That looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it does look interesting.
I like that. That's
you have everything at a glance.
As a streamer, I appreciate any enhancements to the UI to make people want to watch and see what's going on here. That starting to look a little bit more fancy. So now there's going to be glorified mutaplasmid and mutaplasmid residue, I guess.
Yeah, and this seems nice because we've spun up I don't know how many you've spun up, but I've spun up 20. You just get crap, and you're like, well, what do I do with this thing now? So you can just recycle it, or you can just throw it on a ship and go, okay, well, it's got this crappy, module on it. But yeah, now it's saying, okay, well, you get that, well, you can reprocess them. You'll get actually some of your plasmoid stuff back, and you can re-roll again. So could be
Interesting.
a benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done really any of this. Has this been something that you've participated in?
Uh, Only a little bit. It can get expensive. Um, if it's not something you're big into, but if you have the components, it can spin stuff up. Uh, but if I were to have like an officer mod, do I want to take the chance that the plasmoid makes it crap? So if you're guaranteed no matter what, it would be better.
Yeah, guaranteed though, I like the idea that at least there's a chance that a little bit. That still sounds like the glorified are not going to make it 100%. This is going to make sure that it's a really, that it's a good item. Just that you won't get as bad of a roll, and you can get a much better roll than normal. So yeah, we'll see what happened here. But this is another huge big change that they're going to be making. So these are the balance changes that are going to be coming. And this is what's going to affect the Warzone here. So Marauders, 100% bonus to shield extender hit points have been removed. 50% bonus to armor plate bonus removed. 5% additional bonus to reinforced bulkheads hit points removed. So they are no longer going to be able to become brick tanks. So this, when it comes to small gang fighting, this is not a hit really. You've lost some of your buffer that happens maybe, but more than likely you're not using any of those modules. You're using active, modules to give you big boosts in the shield repair amount that you get. So this is not going to be too big of a hit on the small gang one, but it is going to have a huge hit on people that are doing like 30 or 40 of these and are running around doing big sites and stuff like that and doing fleets of these, because you got to have more, you want to have tank on them, that a buffer tank, so that they can survive getting alphaed by somebody. So this is going to be a huge hit to them being a fleet ship, ship of the line. Though this is kind of kicking them out from that. Also, the Varger is going to be taking some hits here, with the fall off bonus is going to be reduced from 10% to 7.5% per level. The CPU is getting reduced from 625 to just 600. Buffer tank also to keep from getting ganked. Yep, that's a big one too. Like, cause you do have this, big thing where you can be like, okay, I can prevent the alpha of gank by having a huge. So these will be more of a target for the high sec mission runners as well. Get a little bit of a threat that'll happen to them. Even with the above adjustments to all Marauders, the Varger still stands out as the worst offender among them. It is currently the #1 highest damage dealing ship on average for all of the kill mails in null sec security and wormhole space. So basically they're just cutting it back to so they basically are cutting down some of its fitting and making autocannons a little bit harder to project way out. But not a huge hit to the Varger, to be honest. Like, it's still going to be able to, like, do crazy amount of active shield tanking for small game PvP. The Absolution is getting a 10% bonus, is turning into a 20% bonus for the energy turret damage. So it's a solid, huge jump in its use of, or how much damage it's going to be outputting. and a 5% rate bonus for energy turrets is going to be removed. So actually not that big. So it'll have more alpha and probably still more damage overall, but it's losing that rate of fire bonus. But that'll also help with probably making it more cap stable. The Absolution is struggling a little bit with the usage, so we're giving it a bit of a quality of life. This change keeps the overall damage per second of the Absolution the same as before, but now that the rate of fire bonus is baked into the damage bonus, it no longer consumes as much capacitor as before to fire, which should make it feel better. So yeah, actually I was getting that right there. They should ask Ghosty about getting damped down in a Marauder to the point that all you can do is just look at the screen and do nothing. Yeah, this game definitely has, if you bring the right tools, you can dismantle and make sure that a small group of people beat the living shit out of one person. Even if they, have set all the odds to their advantage, that they can. You're only one person, so unless you've got more friends, it's a lot harder. Or you've got the Myrmidon getting a pretty decent boost here. So the Myrmidon is getting an increase of from 7.5 to 10% armor repair amount per level. We have a base velocity is being increased by 5 meters per second, and the agility is getting slightly better. So I think that's okay. Having a 50% bonus to armor repair amount is pretty cool. I might have to reevaluate and look at maybe adding more of the Myrmidon Navy issue to fleets that I want to fly. Harbinger Navy issue is getting a power grid increase. The Cyclone Fleet issue is getting a power grid decrease, and a rate of fire, its rate of fire bonus going from 9% down to 7.5% per level. So that's a pretty big hit on the Cyclone Fleet issue.
Yeah.
The Execure Navy issue, taking one of the biggest hits here, has got a medium hybrid fall-off bonus reduced from 10% to 7.5% per level. Base velocity reduction reduced from 280 to 270 meters per second. Agility is being nerfed from 0.4 to 0.44. Signature radius is being increased. We're just punch. So
Yeah,
I think that
you're not gonna move. You're gonna move slower. You're gonna be a bigger target to hit. You're not gonna be able to line as fast, and your fall off has been shortened. So
always trying to make me green.
Just again, I think this is just kind of pushing towards the fact that now the Omen Navy issue is just looking more like a better go-to than these.
Absolutely, and that's so it's we've had our time to shine, and I guess it's over to somebody else. Also, the Stabber Fleet issue is the one that's looking really good here. It's getting a 5% bonus to medium projectile turret fall off per level. That's huge. That gives it that much bigger fall off when it comes to its guns. It feels much more like a Stabber now, or it will. And that is looking really cool. So the Stabber might be the new E&I, It's looking really sexy.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But yeah, Omen Navy issue is probably going to be sitting really pretty though too, as well as a very good opportunity or thing to do if you want to do short range or long range. You can kind of switch it up fairly easy. They're doing distinct modules, icons for each individual item now, so it's going to be it's going to be a lot easier to distinguish between the different modules and what they're specifically supposed to be used for.
This is one of those nice quality of life things that we talk about often in the game that CCP could do. Would be an easy fix and just kind of make things just a little better. And this is that. Just
little quality.
You have all these modules, yeah, they're just a little different. So, when I'm looking at my ship, I can say, okay, that's that's a gyro, compared to the whatever else is on there.
So as the graphics overhaul that's going to be coming to this Forsakens, the Sanctums, the Havens, the Patrol, and the Horde sites. 100 different nullsec anomaly sites have objectives panels now, so you can now easily see what wave you are on and how many NPCs remain at a glance. That's interesting. Several NPC groups now warp in instead of spawning. That's kind of cool. New rogue drone relic sites have been added. And then there's Potch. Potch is going to, let's see here, on average 40% of the site's total value is going to be put into these surveillance data commodities. So basically they're going to be making it so that, you have to get an item and then go sell it in order to make money off of these observation posts, these stellar observatories or whatever. I don't know, it sounds like it's still just going to be a massive ISK, not necessarily, well, this would be an ISK faucet for sure, so yeah, it's gonna pour ISK into the game. But you do now need to, one of the things that they do make this a lot more dangerous. So they do make it so that you can't micro jump drive, you can't warp, you're stuck basically. Cloaking is disabled. So basically, if you're in this thing, you're in it to win it. You've got to win it. And then I think you can get out of range to a certain degree, but if you're out of range, out of the 50-kilometer range, then you're not getting any payout. So that's where I think that this is, I still think there's going to be a lot of this just being run uncontested, but when it does get contested, I think it'll be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what this pop-up local chat messages have been replaced with a one-time transmission conversations.
idea. I'm guessing this is a different thing that'll happen. So it's normally there's like a pop-up that has like a local chat message. So I think that basically it's going to be a little bit easier to hide that you're doing them.
Oh, okay.
Unless maybe replaced with a one-time transmission conversation. I don't know what that means. I don't.
Yeah, and the Stasis Atmosphere updates. I'm curious to see what those look like. They brought this up in FanFest last year, where they're actually going to have more like asteroids or various nebula type stuff around stations and things like that. So I'm curious to see if they actually implement that or what that looks like. I hope it doesn't cause any strain on CPU speed, as I'm kind of struggling with that right now. So my graphics, I don't want them getting all jittery with all these updates.
Yeah,
but it's curious.
Fairly slow with us as of late. In general, though, but we're hoping to get things back up and running. Really pushing out there, having fun. I'm looking forward to this expansion to a certain degree, though. I want to see what these new ships are like in cost.
Yeah, they seem like some good changes. They've talked about having to fix Sov out in Nullsec. This is like the path they're taking to get there. And again, won't have a huge impact on us in faction warfare and the day-to-day level, but we'll see what happens as far as like ship costs and things like that coming down in the future. So if you're in Nullsec, good luck with these changes. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know. That's sounds like they want to try and make it a little bit more like Stellaris, but there's some problems.
Well, I'm still gonna show up. I'm gonna still have my ships blown up, and
oh yeah,
see if I can take
it's
some-
not.
some,
This isn't
do some
affecting
flexing.
me. This is one of the reasons why I got out of the 0.0 game, man. Too volatile. I
Yeah,
want to live.
seems like
I
a
want to
lot of
live in
mechanics.
the peace and quiet of low sec, where everything is, where everybody just shoots you all the time, but you can dock, you know.
No, I've been out in nullsec for a little bit and didn't like it. I was out in wormholes and hated the logistics of, okay, yeah, you're doing these things and you're making great money on PI and anomalies, combat anomalies and stuff, but you have to get that stuff out of the wormhole. Or if I need ships, I gotta get stuff into the wormhole, and that was just kind of tedious for me. I mean, if you've got a well-organized group, I could see maybe it'd be worth it, but if I play so much solo stuff that it just wasn't any fun for me. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm in faction warfare. I can do solo, I can do fleet, I can, I can be active. I can take part in this a lot easier.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm
just
here.
undock and do it, and you can, and getting stuff to die less is easy.
Yeah,
it's not a
easy.
problem.
Easy peasy. I just made a whole bunch of ships, a lot of frigates, a couple of cruisers. Oh, and of course the Myrmidon Navy issues. But that's what I've been doing the last couple weeks.
All right, well, I think that kind of wraps up what we were talking about with the expansion, about the Warzone here. Anything else that we want to talk about before we wrap things on up here? Anything else on the news?
I want to give a shout out real quick to a long-time streamer who's been off. He's had some medical issues, but Seiken Eve is now Seiken Gaming. He's been doing some other video games, but he's going to be coming back for Eve. He was a big FC with Eve Uni back in the day when I first started, and really showed me the ropes of how to fly in the fleet, what low sec is like. And he was one of these guys that would hand out ship after ship after ship, and we'd go out and we'd get them blown up, and nobody cared. And then he'd come back and you'd get more and do it all again. So he was a big part of me getting into fleets, MP and MPSI fleeting and playing within NoSec. So it's good to see him coming back. So just shout out to Seiken.
Awesome. And then one other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here is just the last thing before we wrap things on up here is that you could get to the pleasure of hearing the new song that I just had somebody, Moonwolf, stopped by or heard that I was interested in getting a song made about Frozen Fallout, and they created a song very quickly, and it was really awesome of them. And I'm super excited to make some kind of music video for this. I don't have quite a music video, but let's go ahead and just listen to this real quick here. And I'm just super excited about having this song. I've been listening to this song a bunch, trying to think of what I'm going to do for the music video. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. But here we go.
Out on the front when factions collide, Frozen Fallout stands with pride. Faction warfare's his battleground, but he lifts up all voices around. Not just the fighters, but the whole elite team. For traders, explorers, and builders of dreams. Frozen's bringing their stories alive. Each path, each pilot, every drive. Frozen Fallout, voice of the stars. Champion and guide from near to far. He's crafting a space where everyone's seen, building the heart of the Eve stream. On his show, the voices soar, from miners aboard to those wanting more. Holler scouts and legends bold, with Frozen every story's told. Each journey, each skill of the horse unique. With Frozen, they all get to speak. It's the Eve community's wide embrace. Every pilot has a place. Frozen Fallout, voice of the stars. lifting high, from quiet hollers to fighters that fly. Builders, traders, the brave and the free. Frozen stream unites the galaxy. Russian warfare fierce and grand, but Frozen's reaching every hand. From builders to roamers, wide and strong, he's making a place where we all belong. Frozen Fallout, voice of the stars, champion and guide from near to far. He's crafting a space where everyone's seen, building the heart of the Eve stream. So here's to the voices across the sky, Frozen Fallout, lifting them high. In the world of Eve, he's claimed his throne, a warrior, a friend we call our own.
All right, well, there we go. Any comments, thoughts? Sounds like an anime intro, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, I'm jealous as shit. I know. I mean, he's an amazing producer of music. He did Hoppy's theme song and stuff too, which is just incredible. He's a great talent, and I am just so jealous right now that you have your theme song. Like,
I have a theme
that's like-
song.
that's like big time now.
Yeah, no, man, it's like I feel very special. You know, it really picked me up after Wednesday's really disappointing universe selection, apparently. Like, this is, but yeah, so
That's amazing. So what was that guy's name again? For our fans?
Moon Wolf.
Moon Wolf. Yeah, I said so.
And so we'll put some details in there. Go check them out. They do a bunch of streaming on Eve as well, or for Eve as well on Twitch here. And we'll get that in the show notes as well. If you are able to find them and post a thing, that'd be cool too. But I think I'll break things. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things on up here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for listening, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.